name is Mark, and I'm the Accelerator Chair for San Diego EO. I have with me today Craig. He's an EO right now and has decided to be a coach for the Accelerator program. And this is Chandler, and he is in Accelerator, and he's here to help us learn a little bit about what the program's meant for him. He also is the chair on Accelerator for the coaches to be their support system. So let's get right into it. So EO Accelerator's mission is to empower entrepreneurs with the tools, community, and accountability to aggressively grow their business. That's the mission for Accelerators. And they do that by having learning days and coaching and really assisting entrepreneurs to get to $1 million as fast as possible. So let me tell you a little bit about the Accelerator program. Around the world, there's over 631 participants in the US, Germany, all over Mexico, and it's growing at a very rapid speed. It's the fastest growing program in EO that they currently have, and it's the feeder for EO proper. The criteria to be part of the Accelerator program is you have to be doing $250,000 a year up to $1 million. So these are initial entrepreneurs who are looking for a support system to get to $1 million as fast as possible, and that's why they join the Accelerator program. It's built on 3 specific areas. We have quarterly learning days or growth days where trainers from global EO come in and they teach different topics as it relates to help these entrepreneurs grow. It's built off the book called Scaling Up by Vern Harnish, who is the founder of EO. And it's an amazing opportunity. All EO members can attend that group, but it's specifically for the accelerators. And then the second part of the pillars of this program is the accountability groups. This is where coaches are critical. They sit in and they help these entrepreneurs answer questions. They hold them accountable to their goals, and then they tie in the learning days on a monthly basis. And number 3, it's $1 million focus. So the goal is to grow your company as fast as possible to $1 million and above. And really you have about 3 years to get that accomplished.
Right. And the accountability group is basically just a forum.
It's like a forum experience, but different in that forum we have Gestalt. We do try to speak from experience in the accountability groups, but we often have, we give advice. I mean, as a coach, you will actually have an opportunity to give advice. Even at sometimes you might not know or have a specific experience, but you'll pull it out of the group to try to solve problems. I mean, the accountability groups are about solving problems and growing your company.
Absolutely.
All right, so what is the content of the Accelerator program? Like I said, it's off the book called Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. It's an amazing book, very much like a textbook, but has lots of really important information in it. They focus on the quarterly meetings. You go over people, so how to hire people, how to scale your company, when you need management to come on in, culture, internal motivation. You'll have a sales and marketing day, which focuses on strategies for closing a sale, building a lead gen system. You'll problem solve. It's workshops that are related to really getting to what you're trying to accomplish. And then you'll have a finance day where you focus on cash flows, what KPIs you should be tracking, when you should be hiring, when you should be firing. Really critically important. And then you have a strategy day where you really put your mission value into clear focus, and you identify the priorities that make you successful as an entrepreneur. And these 4 critical days of learning are built in the accountability groups, and they're critical. So oftentimes in the accountability program or even in the Accelerator program, there's been some lack of continuity between the learning days and the actual accountability group meetings. And what we really want coaches to do is commit to coming to the learning days and growth days so they can speak from experience on what should be accomplished in between on a quarterly basis.
So if the growth and learning day is in 1 month, in that 1 month we don't have an accountability group. We have the accountability group the next 2 months afterwards, and those are 2 meetings to go over the content.
Yes, the accountability group. You speak to that. How
So
have you guys done it in the
So
past?
the accountability group still meets. So we do these learning days once a quarter. So once a quarter we meet, and then on one out of those 3 months we meet twice.
Okay. So basically you have 3 meetings to review and go over the content from the learning
Correct.
group. Perfect.
Correct.
Right.
And these learning days handle all of the basics, and every time I go, it changes our company. Like I've never really looked at like our cash flow strategy and like how that went, and then we really broke it down, and it brought that information back to the company, and it literally changed everything. And like every time we go, it's just huge.
Right. So when we're creating the agenda for the accountability group, we should basically have 3 meetings to go over the content from that one meeting, learning day that quarter.
Correct.
And what's great with the learning day, the coaches that come in, they're from global. And so at the end of the learning day, we literally leave with an action plan, and we share the action plan with the entire group, with all of the accelerators. And sometimes in the past, there's not a lot of consistency between the action item and what you've taken to your own like little forum groups. So that is what we're looking for, and like in an excellent coaching experience. We take those action items where you're really inspired, you're fired up, you have a lot of clarity because you just worked all day on your business, you're not worried about all the other shit, and now all of a sudden you can bring that in, and that's something that's a continuing conversation in your groups.
Got it. Makes sense. So what happens if, as a coach, I've got a family emergency or I got my forum and I can't make the learning day? What are my options then?
You can go to any learning day. These programs are run all over the country. You can go to any one of them. They're held on different days, but every quarter is the same topic. So the whole global community is learning the same thing that you will be learning, so you can make it up at another location. And we really want you to make it up. We really do. We need you to commit to that, only because it's critical to tying in the accountability groups with the learning days. If we don't have that, one of our pillars is broken, and it's really a critical piece to being successful.
So I, as a San Diego EO member, I can go to the Orange County or the LA session for this.
Yep. You can go to Germany if you speak German.
I don't speak German.
Not yet.
But we've had people do that. And actually, even the Accelerator members who can't make the learning days, they'll make it up in another location. And they've really made amazing relationships by doing that, learning from other entrepreneurs and all over the place, Arizona and Texas and all over.
So that one time you went to Tijuana for...
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So you can go to TJ, you can go do, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, well, cool. This slide is really focused on how it's affected the Accelerator as a whole, and really as a coach, you get to really affect these accelerators' lives in a dramatic way. And this slide is a testament to that. What it meant for Derek out of the Arizona chapter, and he says it's 2 things. One, it's emotional, and the other is tangible. But what has been your experience?
So going into the Accelerator, I just knew that we just had to bring in more revenue. Like as long as we bring in revenue, like this is all going to work out. And then I remember my first learning day, because I got into the Accelerator and then I got to learning day and they told me that it was actually all about profit. And I literally sat in my chair and I felt like all the blood rushed through my body, thinking, holy shit, what have we been doing?
We're supposed to make money?
Well, I thought that the goal was just to bring in as much revenue and then hire the amount of people that you need and just keep like trying to push the engine.
Yeah.
And then what I realized is it's really about getting smart with it. And from there, we changed one of our services so it's a lot more profitable. And then now on a monthly basis, we're measuring the profitability of all of our services and we're firing clients. And on an emotional level, on a personal level, we were having some like legal issues with somebody that was going to try to sue us, like leaving the company because we moved them from an employee to a contractor, and I was just freaking out and I was taking it all very personally. And then I shared that with the group just like on a vulnerable level, and I just got some great feedback to like let go of the personal note and like to give her what they wanted, so then it didn't affect our business in the long term. And I just remember like just feeling like holy, like wow, like I just avoided a lot of pain on a personal level from this group. So it was like personally, like how I felt, it was like a great business strategy, but also even on a tactical level, like I've gotten it all from the learning days, and then that's how the group came in too.
Yeah, which is an incredible experience, right? As an entrepreneur, if you had a program that you could go to that was like EO, that gives you that same emotional support, and have people with experiences like you're going through now to help you grow your company when you're first starting out, that's what you get to be as a coach, which is an incredible opportunity, a way to really give back to the community of entrepreneurs. So the accountability group agenda. So this is the critical piece of how you run your accountability group as a coach. In this section of what we're talking about today is we really want the coaches to run a very organized, structured meeting. And that's because you only get to meet with them once a month. And you might be their only contact, the only person that they can relate to in growing their company. So it has to be meaningful, it has to be impactful, and it has to help change their life. So it's a lot like a forum experience, but different. So it's really important. So that means having people show up on time. If they don't show up on time, there's a consequence. If people miss a meeting, somebody better die. I mean, I'm serious. Like it's got to be like, there's not this, I have a birthday or whatever. If you're there. I mean, if you can change it and everybody agrees, fine. But really, we want the coaches to be structured and in control in this situation, and not let people pontificate and go over their time, because that takes away from other members in the group. It's a lot like a forum experience, but a little bit more. That's why it's called a coach and not a moderator, because you are coaching these people, these entrepreneurs. You're not necessarily their peer. Do you understand the difference?
Got it. So because you're not necessarily a peer, so there's a couple of guidelines that we can create. So is there a constitution with very clearly defined penalties for not showing up and not having a time commitment?
So we have a constitution that everybody has to be held accountable to. So it means if you don't show up on time, it's going to cost you money. If you miss a meeting, it's going to cost you money. And if you are continuously do that, you're kicked out of the accountability group. I mean, everybody has to bring 110%, or it's a waste of everybody's time. I don't know. I mean, you've been in a couple accountability groups. Yeah. And we really want all the coaches to be amazing, and they all bring their own unique thing. But what has been your experience?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to have two different kinds of coaches. So we had one coach where it was a little more loosey-goosey. It was their first time coaching. They weren't really potentially onboarded all the way properly, and so it was, can I come in? Someone's phone off. That's not that big of a deal. Someone's a couple minutes late. Well, it's okay this time. But I'm telling you, everyone that is at this meeting cares so much about growing their company, and we really want to respect your time. So everyone is coming in guns hot. They don't have to be here on a Wednesday. Like, they don't have to, but they choose to, because they are trying to grow their freaking companies as fast as possible, and this is the unfair advantage. So now that was when the coach was a little bit more loosey-goosey, it just wasn't as great. No one brought 100%. It's like, I forgot to prepare a little bit. And now all of a sudden the meetings are 75% or 60%. And then now what's the point of going to the meetings? Because I can watch YouTube videos and try to grow that way too. However, I had a different coaching experience, and I just had the first meeting recently. Holy moly, totally different. The coach was like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to go. This is how much time you have. Hey, you're over time. Next. And it just brought it. And then I wanted to prepare more. I wanted to do more research. I wanted to understand some of the words they were saying. And it changed everything. And then now everyone shows up, guns hot, and they're ready to go. And everyone's bringing their 100%. Your brains are a lot more attentive. It's a higher quality conversation, and everyone gets more. And then you get more too, because you get to see us growing faster. And we're probably going to blow your minds with some of the information that we learned too.
So it's better to be respected than to be liked in this group.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
you'll be liked in the long run.
or maybe never.
Yeah.
So, and also, I'm a moderator for my EO forum, and we have rules where I need to send out the agenda 1 week in advance to make sure we're organized because time is precious. Are there similar requirements for the accountability group?
It is. So a minimum of 2 days before the meeting, you do it.
2 days or 2
2 days. It
Okay.
is 2 days before. But 2 weeks, you want to send a reminder. So we say
Got it,
2
okay.
weeks, 2 weeks out. Hey, we have a meeting coming up. Just letting you know it's coming up. It's around the corner. You should already know because it's a recurring meeting every month. But there it is. Have you checked in with your accountability partner in the group? And then in 2 days before the meeting, the final agenda sent out.
Got it.
Yeah. Great questions. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate that. I think that will help people understand.
Totally.
So let's talk about some of the ground rules that are that you have to live by, and we've talked about a little bit of it. But we want to start on time and end on time every time. So it's critical because obviously in your forum experience, you have other things to do, and they do too. And in this, everybody's time is important. They could be doing something else. So nobody's bored in the Accelerator program. No technology, Gestalt minded, but and protocol. But like I said, you can give advice. You want to do the exercises to get everybody naked, and get them vulnerable and ready for the experience.
Get everyone naked.
I'm not wearing pants right now. You want to review confidentiality and the non-solicitation and you want it to be your own experience. I mean, you want everybody to own their own experience and bring everything they have. And so when you lay out the ground rules as a coach, you really are there to set the tone for the group, and it will start with you. A coach will set the tone for the year, and you get the opportunity to say you played a part in helping these entrepreneurs reach their goal.
So how much does the coach, when they do monthly updates, does the coach do his own update? And does he usually start first to set the tone of vulnerability?
That's a great question. I have had in my experience, coaches often will participate, but you have to watch the time closely because this is really about the Accelerator members.
Okay.
So if you feel like by sharing you can get more out of the accelerators, maybe it'll help them be more vulnerable because they know you better, then I'd say go ahead and share. What has been your experience with that?
I think it's great because I don't want you to feel like you're just volunteering and it's like a charity. It's like I want you coming in guns hot and like you're getting something out of this. So if you shared what's going on with you, then like maybe even a later time, it's like, oh, I do online marketing. Like I'd love to support you with some funnel stuff if you ever needed some feedback. So it's like everyone's here to add value to each other, and you're not out of that. So I would say bring it. It also breaks you down to like be more personal, and so like we can ask you better questions because if I know your business and I know what you're dealing with, then I can ask you a more specific question, which would be even more helpful.
Right. So you as a group member would
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and so like our coach right now does a quick share as well.
Right.
Yeah, which I think is good. You'll pick topics off of the Accelerators challenges, and you'll hear that. But we'll get in that in a minute. So everybody in the group will share. So the shares are 7 minutes long. Each member will go. You can adjust that time a minute up or down depending upon how many people are in your group. But best practice is 7 minutes per person. One word open. What accountabilities were due? Did you get them done? Personal best, business best and worst, and what are you going to be held accountable in the next meeting? It's a very structured update. We go ahead.
So for the personal business best and worst, is that similar to the EO top 5, bottom 5, where if it's not top 5 or bottom 5, we don't talk about it, or they just do best and worst regardless if it's top 5?
It's got to be 5%.
Got to be top 5%.
Top 5%.
It's number one. It's either that's the best or the worst, and then that's what usually the only stuff you have time for. Then we move on.
Right, but for example, in EO, it's top 5% like in your life versus in that month, right? So if I got into an argument with my wife or we had a bad month, that might have been the worst for that month, but it may not be worst for my entire life, right?
Yeah, the personal best and worst should be in that 5% range. The accountability done, not done is not. And it's really, did you do it or did you not do it? Not why you didn't do it. You don't get into the whys in the update. Like that's for later.
Got it.
And so you really want to focus on that because they only have 7 minutes, right? So It's a pretty fast update. All right, and then, but any other questions on that?
I would just say the accountability stuff is usually at the end. That's just like the last part of it, because you went through something, you just had some great brainstorms, you got some feedback on stuff, and then at the end you would do your accountabilities, and then you rate the meeting.
Got it.
And then you do a one-word close.
Yeah. So that's on the that's on the updates. You do a content review. So every meeting, like we said, we're trying to tie in the learning days to your accountability meetings. So you'll do a review of what was talked about, a review on what you said you were going to do during the learning days,
Mm-hmm.
and then tie in some content. Part of your update, or we'll get in the next part, but part of what you'll talk about is what have you done related to the learning day to propel your company forward. So you do a quick review of that. Then you go through a 15-minute round and you talk about any clarifying questions off of everybody's update. So that takes 15 minutes. Then you choose 2 presentations, and related to missed goals, challenges, or opportunities, and you want it to be relevant to everybody. And the one presentation needs to be focused on whatever the learning day was.
Got it.
So this is a little different, right? I mean, it's different than your EO experience, but these would be like subject matter focus kind of updates, and then you'll have another presentation that everybody might have a challenge that they're trying to deal with that you go ahead and pick. And these are a lot like live updates. These aren't pre-planned presentations, generally speaking.
And the presentations that are not related to the last learning day, those could be personal or business for any of the members, or is it focused just on business?
It's really focused on business.
Just focused on business.
I mean, you can spend some time, and we think best practice is to go to a dinner after these meetings and really get to know each other on a personal level. But we are here, you as a coach are here to help them grow their company. Personal, if you hear from all your members, they all are having similar personal challenges, then that obviously affects their business and is impeding their growth. Then I'd say that's perfectly acceptable to do a presentation in a personal matter. But, but what about you? What's your experience been with that?
Yeah. So a lot of it is business, but I was in a group and some of the guys were just like, dude, I'm having a really tough time dating. And we talked about dating, and then it was great to get somebody who was married, and we heard their perspective of what it was like dating and how that is dating with entrepreneurship. And so that was really cool to go into. You just have to really vibe out the group and see what's present. You'll be able to really get a feel of what's happening in the group from their best and their worst. So if everyone's saying sales are down, well then let's talk about sales. What's your guys' closing cycle? How can you improve that? How's your lead flow? What are your leading indicators? What are your lagging indicators? What the hell is happening with you guys? And then figuring that part out, but you'll be able to hear that.
Got it.
Really listening for those patterns. And then they may not know, because I didn't in the beginning, didn't know why I was having a problem, so you would probably see like the symptom and like the root of the problem and go for the root versus like the top.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I should fire employees. Like, well, then you don't have a great system of whether or not you're hiring and firing people. How's your scorecard? So it's like starting down here.
Got it.
Or people who keep saying, I need to hire somebody, I'm doing too much,
Yeah.
and then you're into it for the 3rd month in a row, and they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, those are the key areas. Like, what is the bottleneck from holding them back that's not going to allow them to graduate to EO? And how that's going to benefit the group as a whole. Were you going to ask how the 30-minute second presentation was to go?
Well, how's it structured? So how should I structure it? How should I plan for it? Should it be 10 minutes of share and then I break it down? Or what's the best approach to structure that and have an excellent
I think somebody who's living it, going through the program would be probably great to answer that. What has been your experience with that?
Yeah, so after we do our updates, the coach decides, okay, cool, we're going to go into 2 different issues. And then so what they might do is say, okay, great, that person, can you represent the problem, and almost go into so we start with the clarifying questions. So it's like, okay, can you share more of that problem? So this is like a 30-minute per issue, right? So it's like, let's say it's like that sales example that we were talking about. Okay, can you share with us exactly what's happening? We'll do clarifying questions. Okay, great. Now let's see if anyone else has feedback. And the thing is with the accelerators, they can only share based on their actual experiences. But since we're all growing at different levels, we might not have all those experiences yet. So then you can kind of come in and say, this is my experience, or here's the advice I would do, and here's the reason why I'm doing it, and here's my background and the facts behind it.
Okay, so as the coach, I keep my mouth shut until the last half or last third of the experience share.
Right.
So if it's 30 minutes, it's 10 minutes the person shares. 10
In
minutes,
depth.
In
right.
depth, in details. Another
Clarifying questions.
5 to 10 minutes for clarifying questions. And then shares, and I'm part of the shares.
And you're part of the shares.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other part is you can choose the presentation format. You might look around the room and everybody has a problem with what they feel is the best way to hire somebody. You can say, okay, everybody take 2-3 minutes, write down what you do better, what you feel like you're super proud of, how you hire somebody, and then you're going to share, and you have another 2 minutes to share. So you have flexibility in that. You can structure that second presentation, or even in the way that you want. So whatever you feel will be the most impactful for the group. So you have flexibility in how that presentation is done.
Okay. And in EO forums, when someone presents, we tend to have a coaching session before that meeting where they do present. So for the accountability groups, do we have a coaching session? Does somebody coach the presenter before the meeting?
No, not currently. But once again, this is your group. If you see a reoccurring pattern that you feel is really a bottleneck for your group, then you can pick a presentation and have a coaching session with that person, so that it can be a predetermined second presentation. This can be, like I said, this is really the second presentation. There's a lot of flexibility in. The first one needs to be subject matter focused on whatever the learning day was.
Got it.
Okay, so the format is up to you.
Okay. And in your experience, does your group keep a parking lot of issues?
You can, it just kind of depends on the time. Sometimes, like even in the first presentation, it may not be as much on the last learning day because there's so many, like someone has had a huge issue with like a legal thing, and we're going to tackle that. And then so it just kind of depends, but you can definitely create a system for that. And I would just even say that our coach is bringing in people outside, which is amazing. It's just like the coolest thing ever. So if
Subject matter experts.
Subject matter expert, depending on what everyone is dealing with. So all of us want to learn how to sell a company because we might want to sell our own. So if you have any friends that are in EO or any other subject matter experts, bringing those in, that is just so exciting.
So for example, after the finance and accounting learning day, I could bring in someone like, I don't know, Mark Wilson.
You could bring in
or
Mark
someone
Wilson.
better than Mark Wilson.
Oh, there's no such thing.
That would be really valuable.
Oh, yeah.
Very
So
cool.
you want to document what the accountability goals were, and there's a whole set of documents. I mean, as a coach, we give you tools. You'll have worksheets that you can fill in. You'll get the check-off list for running the meeting. You'll get an agenda that you can fill in and make it your own. But these are really critical items to follow. So you have what's called the SMART commitments from each member. Each member will give you what they're committed to. In this part of the meeting, which hasn't been done, and not all EO groups do this, I think the best practice is to make sure that there's an accountability group partner that they're touching base on a weekly basis. So we want them to reach out and say, hey, you said you're going to do this. Have you done it? Or why haven't you done it? Or what is stopping you? And help them work through, they're busy, and then going through, yes, we're all self-employed. We are all busy. We get it. But why didn't you get done? What's the most important thing for your business for growth?
Yeah.
So that's good. And then so you say what's due in the next meeting. You record. You get the commitment form or the focus plan from the participants themselves, and then you recap all the commitments set. You can recap too if you need to, but that's how it goes.
So in your experience, does the coach just give you a commitment sheet and you hand it back to him at the end of the meeting, and then the coach holds it for the month, or is it something that's?
We actually have it on a Google Sheet, so then it's a live document and it's always updated and it's not on paper, right? So then it's something that you're going through. You make sure that that's checked off and you have your stuff done before the meeting.
Got it.
Do you have an accountability partner in your group?
I do have an accountability partner in my group.
Are you touching base with them on a weekly basis?
I am not currently.
Okay.
But that is in the process.
Yeah, why?
The reason we don't have a reason.
No reason. So if he doesn't hit his goals, it's because he's not following the plan. But no, I'm just kidding.
I'm not.
But you owe it to yourself. Like,
I do,
stick to
yeah,
the plan,
totally.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's a 12-step program.
Yeah,
It's
right.
a 12 steps,
Right.
not 13. It should be easy.
Okay. So needs and leads. Does anyone? So this is a 10-minute part of the meeting. Towards the end, does anyone need anything that wasn't discussed? I mean, something didn't come up. You have a pressing issue. You need to know something right now. What do we do? And you solve the problem. Accountability is about solving problems, not necessarily just peer group support. So, but you do that through peer group, right? So,
something to add here is that this is also a great place for everyone to just like give away leads, like for their company or other companies. Like, I don't do websites, but I knew someone that needed had a budget for a 100K website, and I didn't have the network of like what they needed specifically. They wanted someone in New York, and like a women-based owned company, and it's like, I don't know that person, and then I shared that, and then I got connected with somebody, and then I gave them that lead.
awesome.
So that's an example of like how this group can provide value to each other via the people and the relationships.
So in EO, there's a rule in our form, for example, that there can't be any business transactions greater than $10,000. So does that type of rule apply to accountability groups to make sure there's...
It's not even necessarily that I'm doing business with them, but it was, I'm not going to take advantage of this, and I don't know who is, but I want to give this away.
Yeah, but the answer to your question, yes. It's non-solicitation
Got it.
between members. You're not supposed to do business. If it's insignificant, it's like EO. We're not supposed to do that. So, but
Okay.
it happens if it's insignificant. It's up to you to decide you don't want to create a conflict. So, have to be real. You need to be really careful with that because that can ruin the accountability group. So it's best practice for them not to do business together.
Okay, so it's it's a fine line when you're passing
Yeah.
leads back and forth.
Yeah.
And if somebody asks for a finder's fee, that could be
Right.
Funky.
bad juju. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then obviously you do the administrative part, what's next date for the meeting and all of those normal things. And then you 5-minute close, 1-word close. How do you rate the meeting 1 to 10? Was it good? Was it worth it? Record names and scores and reasons on the commitment form. So really you want to explain it. Was the meeting run right? Did you like it? And we really want immediate feedback. If we don't have immediate feedback, we can't fix a problem if we don't know it exists. So that's it. And really, you have an incredible opportunity to be a part of young entrepreneurs and some just newer entrepreneurs and newer venues trying to get to $1 million as fast as possible. In my experience, I've definitely learned way more from accelerators than I've taught any of them, no doubt about it. They're brilliant, cutting edge entrepreneurs that are doing amazing things that really is a crazy opportunity for being an EO. It's a great thing for you. Thank you for stepping up and doing it. Really, the giving back to the EO community through this way, I don't know if there's a better way to do it. I mean, it's really an amazing time, amazing experience. So that's it. Do you have any other questions?
What's that cologne you're wearing?
It's called garlic. Garlic breath.
Black,
Yeah.
is that black?
Yes, yeah. It's garlic breath. Yeah.
So I'm super excited to be a coach. And obviously you get a lot out of giving to people. I know my journey for our company, getting $2 million was a struggle, and I appreciate everybody who helped me. But again, it's a large time commitment. And so we're still a growing company. So what are some of the trade-offs for giving up so much of my time to work with these companies and these people?
Well, I think there's a lot, but I think one of the biggest benefits you get is your ability to lead people, and learn how to be a leader through this experience. I think is probably one of the best benefits that you get. You get to just challenge yourself and test yourself, and are you a good leader? And you get to measure those
Okay,
results.
we're gonna start over.
That was silly.
You're so lame right now. You're like, no.
Come to America. I can't. I'm like, skip me, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm on my second year. I'm ready for it to be over, okay?
Okay,
I've been giving enough.
So regroup a little bit.
Are you gonna ask the question?
That's right. So I'm super excited to be a coach. I know I'll get a lot out of giving at the time, and I'm super thankful for the people to help us when we're growing our company to $2 million. But it is a very large time commitment, and we still have our own priorities on our side, family and business. So what are some of the other things that someone who's considering to be a coach that they would get out of all the investment and time they're making for this?
I have no fucking idea. Not a clue.
I have a couple ideas. So number one, I would say every coach that I've talked to, that what they get out of it is they get back to the basics, right? So when you're going to the learning days, you're held accountable to get back those core routines, those core habits in your own companies, because this is how you just grow, not to just $1 million. Yeah, we're trying to go to $1 million, but this is how you grow from 1 to 10. And it's some of the same fundamental habits. How do you shorten your sales cycle? How do you get more cash in your business faster? How do you close the amount of time that it takes to produce or serve your customer, right? So it's like you're going to be held accountable for that, and then you're going to go back to the basics. So that's number one. Number two, you're showing up as a leader position in this group, and these are people that are not just hanging around just watching Netflix every Friday night. They're out here on Wednesdays stopping working and trying to figure out how to grow their fucking companies. And so they're going to go somewhere, and you are showing up as a leader there, and so they're going to look up to you and want to provide value back to you too. And so like for my coaches, I'm trying to figure out how to add value, like by introing them to certain people, introing them to potential customers. And so it's like we look up to you in that way, and that's a great way to grow and leverage your network. And then I would say those are the two main things.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, accelerators are experts in whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you're doing 500,000 a year or you're doing 10 million, 50, 150 million dollars a year. These are serious entrepreneurs. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. And Chandler is an expert on creating sales funnels. I'm an accountant. I haven't freak a clue. Like I don't know how to do the sales funnel, but he can help me with that. And the more time I spend with experts and really smart people, it helps me. And so you get a lot of that back, and you get to do that in a leadership position, which I think even adds to your overall success. So.
Does it make me any more handsome?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. All coaches are great looking. So, thanks for being a coach. We appreciate it. Thanks for being part of the program. Hopefully you'll be graduating in the next year or two. And thanks for spending the time watching a video.
Woo!
Salute.